Okay, so to start off, um, understanding these terms. Oh, and while I'm at it, tomorrow we're going to have a quiz, and the quiz is just going to be a terms quiz, right? And actually, let me go ahead and go back to the class while I'm thinking about it. So if you go to modules, not normal. Okay, so from here, sampling statistics, sampling notes. Oh, I don't know why it keeps doing that. So there were terms here, 4 terms that you're supposed to remember or supposed to know. Margin of error. And then when you went, there were sampling terms here, talking about bias and everything. Those terms. And then there was the assignment. And now, sampling bias questions. This, as you see, the notes start with these terms. So the quiz tomorrow, those are all the terms that are on the quiz. So you should be able to reference back and find them. They're all somewhere in the last couple days of assignment. So, all right, so back to this, sorry. So here you are, a simple random sample. So when you have a group, and we have this table of 100 people, if we're taking a simple random sample, it just means it's like throwing everybody's name in the hat and drawing out however many you want. Everybody has a chance, doesn't matter. Everybody's has a chance to be drawn out. A systematic sample, that means that you are going to make a list of people, put them in some kind of order or some kind of list, and then you're going to take out every 5th person or every 10th person or it's a systematic. So you start not with the first person necessarily, but if you start with, let's say you start with the 23rd person and you want to take out every 3rd person, then you would do the 28th, and then the 33rd, and then the 38th, and then the 43rd, 48th, so forth. When you got to 98, since you started 23, you'd wrap back around, and that would be, since if there's only 100 people, you would take the 3rd person, and then the 8th person, and then the 13th, and then the 18th, and then that would take you back to the 23rd. So when you're doing a systematic, you just let it wrap around once you get to the end of your list. Stratified, and we're going to do this one. Stratified is when you separate them into groups, 2 different groups, and then choose the same amount or a proportional amount from each group. That just makes sure you get representation from everybody if it's stratified. Quota sample chose by first dividing the population as small homogeneous groups based on some characteristic, and then choosing proportionally to reflect. And then any sample which relies on random chance. So all of these are probability samples that we're going to do. And since we want to use a random chance, we're going to use a random list of numbers. Now you can look up a random table on the internet, or it's in mathematics textbooks a lot, but it's just a list of random numbers separated into groups of 5 and defined by lines, and you just pick a random line and then you start at the end of the table. I'm going to show you how to use that. So that's what this is about. So the first one, first with the data bank. So this is the number of the person, the ID number, and it's 1, and then there's the 26 and so forth, all the way to 100. And it has their age, their sex, their weight, their IQ score. This SOD score, this study was about the sodium level, so that's their sodium level. And that's their marital status, whether they're widowed, single, married, divorced, so forth. So you have this whole table of people, and you don't want to find the average of everybody. We just want to take a sample and then do it that way. So first one, simple random sample, right? So we want to just randomly choose 5 people, look up their weight, and find the mean, right? The average of their weight. So I have the table in front of me. I'm not going to go back and forth to the table, but you'll see what I'm doing. Hopefully, stop me if you have a question. But this is one of those random lines. Don't worry about the line number. That doesn't matter. But to do this, you're going to start with the first 2 digits. Now, here's a problem. Number 100, if we only take 2 digits every time, you might think, oh, number 100 can never be picked. Well, that's not true, because in a sample random table, you could end up with anywhere from 00 to 99 if you take 2 digits. So instead of worrying about doing 3 digits at a time, so we include 100, just give this number to number 100. You get a 00, that will be person 100. Otherwise, we just need 2 digits. So all right, so the first person in our random sample would be number 96. The second person would be the next 2 digits, 74. And even though they just use the spacing to help you keep all the numbers, so it's not just one big list, but you would still jump that space and do 61 as the next person in the list. And then 21, and then 49. So that's how that works, nice and easy. Then you can just look up the weight of those people. So grab your data bank. Number 96 weighs 149. Number 74 weighs 166. 61 weighs 112. Number 21 weighs 165. And number 49 weighs 191. And then you could add all those up, divide by 5, and get that mean. And I think you know how to find the average, but that's the idea. So here it says record the first, so it's between 00 and 99. And since you're using 2 digits this time, just remember 00 is person 100. And I don't see that on here anyhow, but it can happen on a random number line. That's simple. You just take the first, if you wanted 10, you just take the first 10 double-digit numbers, write them all down, which is what you're doing on your assignment, and find the average. So you'll add them all up and divide by 10. The next one is that systematic, and that's when you do every so often, right? So it actually has me start on the same line. Your lines will be different on the assignments, but since you want 5 people using a systematic approach, and there are 100 people, and you want a sample size of 5, 100 divided by 5 is 20. So you want every 20th person on the list. Don't worry about all that. So if my first number again is 96, then I want to start with 96 and add 20 to get the next person. Well, the next person then would be 116, like I said, just wrap around. So the next person would just be 16. And then 16 plus another 20 would give you 36. And then 36 plus another 20 would give you 56, plus another 20 would give you 76. And then that would wrap, the next 20 would go right back to 96. So this is every 20th person. So when you do a systematic, you only need the first number from the table, and then everything else is based off that number. Now, since you're going to be doing 10 people, you're going to want every 10th person beginning with whatever numbers first on the line I give you in the thing. Then you could look up their weights, and that is right on the table. I don't think you guys need me to look up the weights, but look up their weights. 96 would have that same weight as they did last time, 149. Number 16 would have a 199, just in case you want to double check. And then add up all your weights. For yours, it'll be divided by 10, but that's systematic. Only need the first number, then every other number be based off of that by adding 10 each time. And once it goes over 100, just drop the 1 and start back at the beginning. The third one, and we have a couple of these stratified samples. So our table has on it 50 men and 50 women. So if you were going to do a stratified sample with male and female, you'd want an equal amount. So I can't do a sample size of 5 like I've been doing. I need to do 6 or 8 or 10 so I can divide them up equally. And then what you have to do is look up number 96. So we know 96 is the first person, but I don't know which group it's going to go to. This we're ignoring because they do it a little bit different than I like to do it. So 96, you look up number 96. 96 on here is a female, so put 96 in the female group. And then 74 is a female, so 74. And then 61 is a female also, so 61 goes there. 21 is a male. So if 21 was a female, I just would skip 21 and go to the next number, because now I need only 2 more males. So if 49 is a female, then forget 49. Well, 49 is a male, so that's good. And then 37 is a male, so that's good. So it worked out. But if any of those were females before I got another male, I'd just skip them. Also, sometimes you get into a random table and you might get the same number. So if you already did 61 and I happen to have another 61 on the table, just drop it, forget it, and go to the next 2-digit number, so forth. And now I can look up the weight of those 6 people and find the average. That's how stratified works. Just fill in the parts of your table until you get it all filled in. So the fourth one, they just use different what are called strata. So these groups are called strata. So now our strata is whether they're single, married, divorced, or widowed. Pay no attention to this. That makes it a longer process, in my opinion. So starting with, and they gave you 3 lines because you actually end up having to, you will finish a whole line sometimes. So if I start with number 96, I'm going to look up 96, and that person is single. So 96 goes there. This blank is there for no reason whatsoever, because 40% of our people are married. That's why you need 4 married, 20% are single, 20 divorced, 20 widowed. So those are equal to each. The next one's number 74, and 74 is widowed. So 74 will go with the widowed. 61 is divorced, so 61 there. 21, looking on the table of that chart, married, so 21. 49 is widowed. So now I have all the widowed ones I need. So if I get another widowed, I'll just move on to the next number. 37, single. So now I have all the single people I need. 82 is married. 37 is widowed. So I don't use 37 because I already have that. So I need 18. 18 is divorced. I do need another divorced person. So now I have all those. 68 is widowed. So I don't need 68. 18, I already have, like I said, I've already used an 18, so I don't need another one. Plus, I already filled that up. But so 44 is my next number. Single, I already have single. 23 is married. 51, widowed, I don't need 51. 19, divorced, I don't need any more divorce. 62, divorced, I don't need divorce. 10, divorced, I don't need divorce. 33, divorced, I don't need divorce. Wow, you'd think there's more than 20%, but there's not. We're just getting unlucky. 92 is widowed. 44 is single. Already got the single. So that's why we need the next line, because you'd have to wrap back down around. We already checked 96, 92. I think we just checked 92. So 71 is the next. So 71 is married. So there's our last married one. So if you're doing random numbers on a table and you just run out of the end, just wrap back around and start at the next line. So once you have this filled up, now look up their weights, put them all down, find the average weight. So that's pretty much it. It should be a blank page next, I think. Use that table and then fill in all of your random numbers. Tomorrow we'll have a vocabulary quiz where it'll be open notes so you can look at your vocabulary